Have you heard of this?
I have.
What do you think?
I think it's right on. I think that's what their plan is. But I don't think that they're going to do it this time. I think that this is a dry run. I think this is a beta test. And that's why I think the dollar's only going to get down to 71.18. I think they might have a short bank holiday as a beta test. I think that the flu, what they'll do is they'll salt a percentage of vaccine injections countrywide, and so that they can say, look, some of the people caught the flu, but all the other ones didn't, and we saved you. And that's what I think that's up to, and that's what I think they're up to.
Well,
but I think the scenario that's painted and the thing that you just read will be for the next time around, and that's when it's going to be really bad.
Well, even Chuck Baldwin, this is the guy, and Chuck Baldwin, I'm going to see this guy up at Freedom 21 in a couple of days. Here again, here's another individual just rock solid and not given to rampant paranoia or conspiracy theories. He just wrote an article, and he said that, for starters, all anyone need to do to begin a serious investigation of the subject of internment camps is Google the phrase FEMA camps. There's more than enough evidence than a search engine to keep one busy with some in-depth private investigation for the subject for quite some time. He said just a few weeks ago, I was aboard a cross-country flight when a passenger I was sitting next to, a total stranger, asked me to take a look out the airplane window. He asked, "Do those look like an internment camps to you?" I was astonished that, number one, the man would even know to notice such a potentiality, and two, would be as bold to ask a question of a total stranger. We were flying over Colorado over extreme wilderness terrain, and yes, right in the middle of nowhere, the buildings and surroundings features that I saw sure looked like an internment camp to me. Of course, flying over 30,000 feet in the sky makes it difficult for any detailed analysis to take place. But here we are, and you've seen, Bob, you've seen him as well, the National Guard promoting the military occupational specialty, the MOS of internment and resettlement specialists. And here's the question that he asked. Why does the National Guard need to recruit internment and resettlement specialists? What do they know that we should know? And he said, furthermore, I've had military personnel tell me that many U.S. military bases have been recently closed, are also being prepared as large-scale holding areas. Now, obviously, the question that begs to be asked, who is the U.S. government planning to intern and resettle? And another question is, how many people are they planning to intern that would require a massive number of camps that are apparently being constructed? This stuff...
25% of the population or more will refuse to take shots. And that's what I think they've got them for this time around.
This is unholy at best. Robbie, before we go to...
In fact, they intend to house the men in one section, women in another, and children in another, and they're going to start indoctrinating everybody to purify their minds as to why they didn't take the shots. And, of course, if you're a patriot, they'll work very hard on turning you into one of their tax zombies. This is all real. It's just a question of when it's going to happen and what kind of stages.
Yeah, this can make a grown man cry.
All I can tell you is get the Cosmoline off of them because you're going to need them.
I hate to say this, and I don't like to be any doomsayer here, but these globalist bastards, if it comes down to it, this country will be nuked. So I don't care how many guns we have. If it's necessary to put down this country for all time, because it was the grand experiment that infected the rest of the world with ideas such as freedom and liberty and real representative government. And really kind of at one point in time, folks, kind of a nirvana on earth. They'll do anything to bring this country down. We're back, ladies and gentlemen, second hour of the National Intel Report. I'm your host, John Stadtmiller. It is Tuesday, the 11th of August, 2009. And if this is Tuesday and this is live and this is me talking, I'm also joined by Mr. Robert Chapman of the international forecaster, Mr. Robbie Noel. His program, The Flip Side, follows this one, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time, right here in the good old U.S. of A. And wherever you're at in the world, well, do your own time calculations. Gentlemen, Robbie, do me a favor.
Yes.
What is the Bob Chapman special?
Well, we got a choice. We got a mixed bag today. And you don't get to choose which francs you get. They could be French francs. They could be Swiss francs. These are a fifth of an ounce, 0.1867 ounces of pure gold. $216 a piece. Order 20 or more, which is 4,320. You will receive a subscription for 1 year to the International Forecaster and a fine ceramic mug courtesy of RBN. And if you want silver, which is not part of the Bob Chapman special, because you receive no subscription to anything, it's just a service we offer, monster boxes of U.S. Silver Eagles, 500, $8,640, or a half bag of junk silver, which is 360 ounces, for $5,500 delivered. And they can get either of those by simply calling 1-800-691-7898.
Now, let me get out my little calcupuker here real quick. Let me hit the on button. Let's say that gold, or silver rather, goes up to $50 an ounce.
Yes.
That would mean that for your expenditure of $86.40, you're going to be looking at $25,000. Not a bad return. That's 3 times. That's three times return.
I prefer to look at it this: when silver gets to $100, that junk bag of silver for $5,500 is worth $36,000.
Do you think people will be able to stay a little ahead of inflation? And more importantly, folks, you got to get yourself into a different mindset here. And I'll tell you the reason why. Because what you should be doing right now is preparing for what's coming in the future. If you've got your bullets and you got your beans and you've read up on your Bible, well, good. That's great. But you're still going to need to make purchases of valuable things in the future. Not everything is going to be barterable. You're going to have cash on hand. And that $86.40 for the 500 Silver Eagles, or the half bag, 360 ounces for $5,500, that is going to afford you the ability to make some payments on something, to stay just a little bit longer, or to buy what you're necessarily going to need to buy into the future. And if you think you can barter with your electric company or your phone company for a service, hey, I'll give you a bag of wheat for a month's worth of service, phone service, it ain't going to work. So you're going to need some cash on hand, something convertible back into the FRNs. But, Bob, is that sound advice?
Is that what?
Sound. Robbie's air conditioner is running again. You can't hear it, and it cuts you out. Okay, we got to take the break anyhow. Let me get your response to that after the break.
Get ready for Real Talk Radio. You're listening to the National Intel Report with your host, John Stadtmiller.
Bob Chapman, the scenario I put forth to you before the commercial break, were you able to hear what I was saying?
No, I couldn't hear it all.
Okay. What I was saying is that people have been preparing, at least people that listen to this program and this network. They know what's going on. They know of multiple scenarios that may befall us here in the very near term. And what I've said is that buying food and buying your guns and your ammunition, getting prepared, dusting off the old Bible and boning up on that in case you don't make it past tomorrow, that's all fine and dandy. But I was talking about for the investment of, like, say, $5,500 for half a bag of junk silver. And Robbie, you said it was what, $36,000 or 500 liberties here, for $86.40. that just on the very, very, well, I called out $50 an ounce, but Robbie said, hey, maybe more like 100. In other words, what I'm saying is to get this stuff now and in the future when you need money. Now, I don't think the electric company or your phone company is going to accept for barter a bag of wheat, or they're not even going to take silver or gold. You're going to have to convert that back in to a funny money, namely the Fed Reserve note, to pay bills. Is that sound reasoning?
I would think so, if the Federal Reserve note is still functional.
If it's still functional.
Right.